What's up, y'all? It's Knowledge. Welcome to Brews and Reviews, and today I'm reviewing J. Cole's Lewis Street, and I am sipping on a Divided Sky Rye IPA from Four Hands Brewing Company in St. Louis, Missouri. That's a 6.5% ABV, the perfect percentage of alcohol for a beer. And is this a perfect two-pack duo teaser for an album? We'll find out. J. Cole, Lewis Street. This is the first two singles off of his upcoming album, The Fall Off, and it seems like it's been a really long wait for The Fall Off, even though it's only been 2 years. The album was announced on the last track of the previous album, and he did say at one point he's been working on it since 2016, so it's a long time coming. I'm actually surprised that he's kept the title of the album this long. Those things tend to change over time, and that also makes me really wonder if he's been saving tracks for this particular album, if he kept things off of KOD and he kept things off of Revenge of the Dreamers 3 that he was specifically keeping for The Fall Off. Were these tracks some of those that he was saving? We will really never know unless Cole tells us, but at the same time, I couldn't really see these tracks if he had them previously fitting into Revenge of the Dreamers 3 or KOD. The title of this combo pack is also interesting because it's called Lewis Street. And Lewis Street is where Cole used to live before his family moved to 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Of course, that being the title of what many consider his greatest album. So with naming this after another street that he used to live on, is that Cole drawing a parallel to this combo pack and his breakout album 2014 Forest Hills Drive? The first track on this combo pack is The Climb Back, and this was entirely produced by Cole. And I said this on my Snow on the Bluff review, and I'll say it again. Cole, as much as he's appreciated as a rapper, he is underappreciated as a producer, and that may be for good reason because he doesn't tend to produce outside of Dreamville very much, outside of his own projects very much. He doesn't tend to put his production out there and saves his best stuff for himself. But at the same time, when you listen to this track and you hear all these different elements that mesh together so well, you realize that Cole should be in the top producer conversation. This is a lush and complex beat, and there's so many different sounds coming together to create a thought-provoking and introspective soundscape for Cole to spit over. These different elements include some heavy bass drops, a sharp snare, audible hi-hats with varying cadence, piano riffs, some soft acoustic guitar going on, some bells, and a high-pitched vocal sample that leads the whole melody. So there's a lot going on. To some less skilled producers, that could sound like chaos, but Cole makes it come together very well. The vocal sample that begins this track is very fitting for what Cole's about to speak on, and also matches the essay that he put out before this duo pack, which is called Audacity, where he talks about his perseverance and his climbing back from hardship. This particular vocal sample is a snippet on leadership that's adapted from the Tao Te Ching, the principal book of the Taoist religion by Lao Tzu, and the vocal sample says, "Are you doing work to facilitate growth or to become famous?" He begins the track with a chorus in a sing-songy tone, and he asks some thought-provoking questions that let you know that this is going to attempt to be an introspective track. In the very beginning of the chorus, he says, "Everything come back around full circle. Why do lies sound so present but the truth hurtful? Everybody gotta cry once in a while. But how long will it take for you to smile?" Very thought-provoking so far with that chorus coming in, but he almost kills the vibe with the first lines of the lyrics, and I'm not sure why he set it up so much for everybody to think this was really going to be deep conceptually, only to come in with the first lines in the first verse to talk about how much he needs to get paid to rap. He says, "To the left of the decimal, I need 7 figures to play the joint. Turn up your decibels, peep how I decimate a joint. Check out my projects like them workers that Section 8 appoints. and you'll see how I flipped like exclamation points. He did save the first two lines of this quatrain, with the second two lines coming in with a pair of double entendres that are very clever. Section 8 workers indeed check out projects, much like listeners check out projects from J. Cole, and a lowercase I flipped upside down, of course, is an exclamation point. So after those first two lines, we're back in it with some clever trademark Cole wordplay. He continues with more wordplay and very heavy subject matter, talking about death, particularly untimely death of black corpses in county morgues. The imagery he paints here is stark. The verse then merges into Cole talking about his GOAT status, making a case for it because almost every line is a double entendre, and as clever and as interesting as that is, I would have rather Cole stayed with the somber tone that he set with the beat and some of the lyrics and the poetic chorus. That being said, the wordplay is impressive, all coming together with the last line where he says, well, I ain't with that sleeping underground like a gopher, so I go for mines. He's saying that he doesn't want to be slept on, or he doesn't want to remain underground. He's going for mines, having already mentioned previously in the verse diamonds. Diamonds are found in a mine, but going diamond in RIAA certification is also selling 10 million records. So that's what he's going for, is the pinnacle. He may be underground like mines, but he's going for the diamonds that are in those mines. As the chorus hits again, I'm struck by the poetics in it, and it reminds me of one of the greatest hip-hop songs of all time, Respiration by Black Star featuring Common. Here they are on the screen so you can see the comparisons between the two, both very poetic, talking about the city. And when I really read these two together, I really think that J. Cole's chorus may have been inspired by Black Star, which is fine because it works. Both are extremely poetic. I've always thought that Respiration is one of the most poetic hip-hop songs, and J. Cole completely grabs that vibe and works it on this chorus. On the next verse, he picks up the tempo on his delivery, and his cadence is impeccable, and this is something that's going down as a contender on my year-end best verses flow-wise of 2020. And he begins this verse with more thought-provoking ponderings on death. He says, passing a funeral procession while holding my breath in the car, I thought, at times it be feeling the devil be winning, but do that mean God lost? He then shifts a bit to go into a cautionary tale about somebody who was eating off of him, but ended up losing focus while Cole was trying to help him out with his own come up, and the dude became more focused on clout and status and fame, getting jealous of what J. Cole had. A little later on in the verse, he kicks a laugh out loud line with, they fiend to clap as often as the Genius app misquoting me. It's true. I don't know what some of these Genius transcribers are thinking, but they do at times have the lyrics way out of line. The song ends with an outro that also poses more thought-provoking questions with the lines, everybody mentions suicide prevention. Man, they even made a hotline to call up when there's tension, but I got a question. What about a fucking homicide? Let that sink in. I enjoyed this track, and it's great as a single. There's an underlying theme of untimely and unnecessary death, which fits the lush soundscape that Cole has created perfectly. There's clever wordplay throughout, some great poetics on the chorus, and a stellar flow displayed by Cole on the second verse. I do wish that Cole would have stuck to the concept a little closer, having veered off into personal status and ego a little bit, but this is me holding Cole to a higher standard lyrically than we hold most MCs. So that should be understood when I say that he veered from the subject matter a bit and that I'm disappointed in that from him. But overall, this is a great track and truly whets the appetite for a longer project from Cole. On the next track, Cole returns to a common theme of the Lion King, Simba being one of his most recognizable early tracks, and the metaphor that he draws there between him and this fictional character. In addition to Cole, this track is produced by Jetson Made and T Minus, and whereas the last track featured a chipmunk sample done right, to me, this is a chipmunk sample done wrong, as it's a little too high-pitched and it's a little bit distracting as it plays throughout the verses and distracts from Cole's flow. However, the 808s do suck you into the instrumental, and the beats are a little bit reminiscent of I Like the Way You Move by Outkast, or rather Big Boy, because that was a Big Boy solo track, even though it was billed as Outkast. Nevertheless, the 808s are nice. And structurally, this is very similar to the previous track, as it begins with a chorus and it contains 2 verses. And the chorus itself is sing-songy, just like the previous track, which Cole is known to do and does very well. The title is fitting, calling back to a young Simba and rapping from the perspective of a very hungry, young Cole, with lines like, "Fuck it though, you got a way bigger target. I'ma do it so big they don't know what to call it. Sound like a whole Lambo truck in my stomach. Bitch, I ain't hungry, this feeling is starving." I love that imagery of the rumbling of a Lambo truck in his stomach, because he's not just hungry, he's starving. And it's cool that he could capture that feeling that he had back in the day, despite that he's one of the most recognizable rappers on the planet right now. Through the verse, he's saying that in the beginning of his career, people were pushing him to fit a certain image, to wear a lot of jewelry, to look like a rapper, or to have a lot of ice. That would be the Lion King on ice. But he chose to go his own route, and rather than have this imagery and this lush persona, to make meaningful songs instead. And he proves that with lines like, "Half the time we be pacifying what they expect from us, but that's treacherous, they show less of us. I need y'all to see every part of me, every scar and every artery, every story that I can recall. Then I can fall." With that last line, he shows that his goal, rather than only success, is to pour his heart out into the music that he makes. However, when he says in the chorus that he's got blood on his hands and he's got mud on his shoes, this could mean that he has moments in his career that he wasn't keeping it real and he wasn't staying true to himself, and he's ready to admit that and make up for it by capitalizing on this hunger for meaningful songs that he has within him. As it gets to the outro, I really enjoy that it fades out while Cole is still speaking. That lets you know that this whole thing is a teaser just to get you ready for the upcoming album, The Fall Off, and it's fitting. It does leave you wanting more at the end. As a duo pack, this is very effective. There's only 2 knocks on the whole thing. One is that he didn't stick to the concept enough on the climb back, and 2 is the production a bit on Lion King on Ice. However, what one track of this duo lacks, the other one has. So while he didn't stick to the subject enough on the climb back, he did stick very well to the subject on the Lion King on Ice, and the production on the climb back is one of the highlights of this duo pack, and it more than makes up for the annoying sample that is featured on Lion King on Ice. This is a great teaser for The Fall Off, and it accomplished its job of building excitement for a longer form Cole. Thank you for watching my review of J. Cole's Lewis Street. If you liked my analysis, go ahead and hit like now below. You can also subscribe through the link that's popping up right next to me. I drop consistent hip hop and hops related content, so check out these other videos that are popping up. And until I see you next time, keep buzzing.